Oh, that was an unexpected beginning. We're back here with real talk and real dance moves with Aaron and Steve here on Steve Shetler Media. Keeping it real.
The talk is real. I'm not sure about the dance moves.
Yes.
There was a spontaneous outburst of terrible dancing in the room.
They're doing the robot, doing the what's that thing? The flappy arm. Is that robot as well?
I think that's part of the robot. I don't know. I grew up Mennonite, so dancing is not in my genetic makeup.
Footloose.
Cool movie from the 80s, but it never caught on in my ability to dance.
Oh, man. So what do we got going on? It is a Monday evening, and we're doing another Real Talk. Pastor Aaron Fleming from New Life Community Church in Wellman. And an author. You know, we don't mention that enough. Aaron M. Fleming.
You can check my books out on Amazon and pretty much every other place on the internet where books are bought and sold. So I got a third one that I'm working on, chipping away, hoping to get that out sometime this spring. But I'm not quite halfway.
And it took you a while. We're getting totally off topic already, but it took you a while to get that first one done, right?
Oh yeah, I think the first one was maybe a 3-year process.
And now you're just spitting them out.
The second one came out really fast. The third one has kind of ground down. And this is going to tie in. Thank you for bringing up my books.
Yeah.
They're fantasy adventures. So sword swinging heroes chopping up goblins with battle axes and all the cool stuff. Yeah. Lots of fun. A little bit of humor. A little bit of bad language. Like nothing like PG-13. I consider them PG-13 books.
All right.
I am a pastor. I have a reputation to uphold. Right?
So check those out. Aaron M. Fleming.
Yes. Kingmaker is the name of the first book, and the sequel is Skeleton Company. And it involves armies of undead bad things. So, calling. We've been talking about calling the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
And it's perfect that you bring up writing, because for most of my life, I wanted to write a novel.
Okay.
And finally I did. And then I wrote another one. And it's just kind of part of this idea that our calling in life is kind of evolving over time. And you get an idea and you think it would be cool to do, and then it goes on the back burner for, in my case, almost 30 years. And then all of a sudden one thing happens, and then another thing happens. And then the thing that you always wanted to do happens. And these things they unfold. And it's one of the beautiful things to me about serving God and knowing God and walking with God is you see things unfold in ways that nobody could have imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Just so much fun. So last week we were at the very beginning of a book in the Bible called 1 Samuel, and we were reading about a lady named Hannah who had a calling to be a mother. Maybe the most simple, basic calling possible. But she could not have children for a long time, so her husband took a second wife, which presumably was not cool at all.
Yeah.
Steve and I are definitely not into the polygamy thing. One wife is enough, isn't it? I mean, like, I love my wife. Steve, you love Stacy.
Yes.
You don't want two Stacys.
One is plenty.
One is plenty. With all due respect.
Yes.
One is enough. But this dude in this story takes a second wife so she can crank out some kids. She's Fertile Myrtle is her name. And she's not letting Hannah forget about it. So we get to the temple, and we left off where Hannah is praying. She's at the temple. She's praying. She's asking God for a son. All of these years of pain and waiting and longing have sharpened her vision so that she doesn't want any son. She wants a son that she can dedicate to God so he can grow up in the temple and be a priest or something. But she doesn't realize that until years of suffering put a fine point on that calling. And I think that's true. that happens in life. We get adrift. We don't see the bigger picture, and it really stinks, but sometimes it just takes pain to wake us up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your encouragement for the day. Thanks for joining us. Just kidding.
Till next week.
Now go numb yourself with pretzels. No, so this woman is praying, and we read that as she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli, and he's the high priest, like we said last week, he's going to turn out to be a stinker for a couple of different reasons. But here's the first one right here. Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. So Eli thought she was drunk.
Okay.
How do you like that?
I can see that happening. You know, so if people aren't familiar with what you're doing.
Yeah, but here you are crying in grief, and here's this guy who's supposed to be the professional holy man, right? He's supposed to lead you to God and bring you comfort and things like that. And he's like, "You must be drunk. How long will you keep on getting drunk?" He said. "Get rid of your wine." And her response to him is extraordinary. And I think there's a lesson here.
Okay.
It's just about character in the midst of suffering. It is, tell me if this is true or not. Is it really easy to lash out at people when they're mean to you?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You're having a bad day. Your wife doesn't know it. She walks in, makes some sort of totally unreasonable request of you, like, please put your laundry away.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm busy watching sports.
Yeah. Can't you see I'm playing a video game?
I'm in my man cave. It's so stinking easy to lash out, even at the people that love us and are trying to get us to stop acting drunk.
I'm about to lash out at my dogs right now. If people are listening closely, they can hear my pack of dogs downstairs barking at nothing.
It's a very happy bark. I guarantee you, those are very happy dogs.
They won't be here in a minute.
They were very happy to see me when I arrived today. They were like, "Oh my goodness, Aaron's back. It's Aaron. It's Aaron. Hey, Aaron, how are you doing? How are you doing, Aaron?" Now Steve's about to put me in the doghouse. Okay, so this priest hauls off and accuses her of being drunk and tells her to get rid of her wine. And she just has the most chill response. "Not so, my lord," she replied. "I am a woman who is deeply troubled." Which is, of course, how I always respond to my wife when she's insensitive to me. I'm just like, oh, not so, Melissa. I'm just a man who is deeply troubled. And I always say it really calmly like that.
Yes.
Because that's what I learned from my friend Steve.
With his dogs.
With his dogs. And his wife. And his situations in life. He's just always like, oh, I'm a man who's deeply troubled.
Please be quiet, dogs. Please.
Yeah, please, dogs. Please just leave me alone. I'm a man who's deeply troubled. Here's the extension of Hannah's thought. I have not been drinking wine or beer, she calmly explained. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. And I would just like to say, doesn't it stink when people misjudge you?
Yes, it does.
When people question your motives and get all up in your grill. We're going to find out in the next chapter that there were some other women hanging around who probably were drunk. And Eli had some experience with, and here's the spoiler alert. We're going to find out in the next chapter that Eli's sons are sleeping with the women who work at the temple. Okay. And they're mostly partying. And what he does is mostly just hang around and eat big portions of meat that they bring him.
Okay.
And back then, in the Old Testament law, the priest eats brisket. So this guy's just getting chunky on brisket. He's projecting on Hannah, though, the misbehavior that he sees in all of the other people in his life. Oh, that's just boils my biscuits. That's not even...
But does it boil your brisket?
I don't think that boil my biscuit is... That's not a thing, is it?
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. I have not been drinking wine. I'm just a man who is deeply confused about what he's talking about.
Next week, well, we're going to have a cooking show called Biscuit Boiling.
We're going to bake our shrimp and have a biscuit boil. Oh, man. I have lost track of where we are.
Eli and his brisket.
Eli and his brisket and the drunk people that were hanging around the temple. Wild times. The Bible is not pulling any punches on us here. So she takes his verbal punches and his accusations, which seriously now we've been joking and laughing. There's not a whole lot in my experience that's more painful than false accusations. Just to protect the identity of people who falsely accuse me of things, it just hurts real bad. Mm-hmm. And the last thing that I want to do when people falsely accuse me of things is be like, oh, what you don't understand is that's actually not. I'm like,
yeah.
Let's fight. Or we've discussed this before too. Steve and I are both kind of conflict avoiders.
Yes.
Phooey on you. I don't need this. I'll just go do something else, like watch Netflix.
Yeah.
For 6 hours, hypothetically.
And eat cookies.
Ooh, and eat cookies. Yeah. But in this story, Hannah just comes back and explains herself calmly. And to his credit, Eli the priest answered, "Oh, go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant what you have asked of him." And this guy who is just character assassinating her is suddenly blessing her and praying for her, and she receives it. And I just think, man, I want to be more like that. Because most of the time when people falsely accuse us of stuff, they just don't know, right? And it feels so personal. And most of the time, they're just jumping to conclusions, or they got bad information or whatever. And that goes for when I falsely judge people too. Mm-hmm. I've done that too, right? We jump to conclusions. We're wallowing in our own pain. Just keeping it real. When I'm in my own pain, it makes it really easy to lash out at other people or assume that other people are out to get me or whatever. And that reminds me of a good little phrase. This is not in the Bible, but have you ever heard of Hanlon's razor?
I don't think so.
It's a little obscure, but it goes like this. Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity.
Okay.
People aren't out to get you. They're just dumb.
Yeah, sometimes. Yep.
And, probably when you're in the wrong, when I'm in the wrong, it's just because I'm dumb, not because I'm out to get somebody. I'm just being dumb. So anyway, I want to wrap up here just with this idea that Hannah is this person who can absorb insult and turn it around. And character, we started off talking about calling. And I just want to end on a note about character. That even if I don't know what to do in my life, which is frequent, what is the next step? I don't know. But I know what good character looks like. And if I can work on that, if I can work on good character, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, going out of my way to love somebody else sometimes. Character is also calling. And character makes the rest of the calling possible. So that's the thought for the day.
Okay.
You got any final thoughts for the day?
I don't think so. No. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you got it.
Well, we covered a lot of ground this week. Thanks for being with us, everybody. If you've got a question or a comment, let us know in the comment section. Give us a share if you like what you're doing and we got a good message. Give us a share.
Yeah, share, comment, like.
Yeah, and if you haven't...
Send your stars. If you have
Ooh.
Facebook stars, hit that little button on your phone and...
Send us some stars. Yeah. If you're not a friend of Steve Shetler Media yet, hit the
like and follow. Or
like
subscribe,
and follow. Subscribe
wherever. Because we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Ooh, nice.
Now known as
X. The social media platform formerly known as Twitter. Okay, with that, we say farewell. We'll see you next week, everybody.